All right, guys, we are going to be using the next 2 pages in our composition notebooks today. So the first page and the second page are going to have the same title. I'm going to have you label it Indefinite Pronouns. You can actually label the next page the same thing. So mine is the back side of this page. Yours might be the front of the next page. Indefinite pronouns. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to flip back to the first page, and we're going to take some notes on this page. It's not going to fill the whole page. The second page, we have a half foldable sheet that we're going to be using that's in your packet. There's just not enough room on this page to do both, so that's why we're doing it over 2 pages. So indefinite pronouns, let's look at what that means. So if you can break this word up to the word definite, or definitely would be another form of this word, you know that that word means like for sure, matter of fact, yes, it's going to happen. Once you add this in front of it, indefinite, it means it's not quite sure, or it might not happen, or it's not a matter of fact. It's kind of up in the air. And it's kind of silly when you compare it to pronouns, but once we get a few examples written down, it'll start to make sense. So indefinite pronouns take the place, just to review, take the place of nouns. And then again, nouns that they replace are called antecedents. So that's like the original noun or the original person or thing that's being talked about. Okay, so we already know that. But now indefinite pronouns don't have antecedents that are definite. In other words, you can't necessarily pinpoint the antecedent in the sentence. We don't quite know. It's not exactly one person or one person's name or one thing. It's not a dog. It's not Mrs. Hurst. It's not Becca. We don't really know who the antecedent is. We know there is one, but we may not be able to actually pinpoint it. So that's why we consider it indefinite. Okay? So they do not or does not refer to a specific person, place, or thing. So it does not refer to a specific person, place, or thing. Here are some examples. Someone left a book on the desk. Okay, so someone is our indefinite pronoun. It's the pronoun that's being used. And even if we did have the rest of the text and we could maybe figure it out, no matter if we have the rest of the text or not, someone is still kind of a mysterious pronoun. We don't quite know who they're talking about. We don't know who's doing the leaving of the book. We don't know who's doing the action. So that's why we consider it indefinite. You'll notice that the words that we use for indefinite pronouns kind of have a similar part to them, and you'll get that shortly here. So here's another example for you. Does anybody need a pencil? Anybody is our indefinite pronoun. I'm not talking to, or if I'm the one that's asking this question in class, I'm not talking to a specific person. I'm saying, does anyone in the room? So it's not definitely talking to one person or thing. It's kind of a broad, general grouping of people. So it's not a definite answer. It's talking to either multiple people or a group of people or someone that we may not know, like in the case of someone. Okay? Now, little side note here. Some Indefinite pronouns are singular, meaning they always take a singular verb with them, or they're always paired with a singular verb, which we haven't gotten to yet, but it ends in S. I should have wrote ends in. It ends in an S. And verbs are actually our next unit, and we'll get that knowledge eventually. But you can kind of think about it here. So if we have, what's a good example? An example would be Mrs. Hurst needs a pencil. Okay, Mrs. Hurst is just a subject. Okay, now this has no pronoun in there, so we'll change it to an indefinite pronoun. But this is kind of just so you can get the ends in S knowledge also. Singular nouns pair with a plural verb or a singular verb, but it looks plural, so that's kind of why it gets tricky. It needs that S at the end. Needs an S at the end. Singular, singular, even though it has an S. Okay. Someone needs a pencil. Now, this is saying one person who we do not know needs a pencil. So that would be it paired with a singular noun. Okay. Some plural indefinite pronouns need a plural verb, which normal, they don't end in S, which is so confusing. Don't end in S. Unless it's irregular, which we'll cover in the next unit. But I'm just kind of giving you this background knowledge here. So singular, another example, everybody is waiting for her. Singular verb. Everybody is your indefinite pronoun. Okay, we don't know who. It's a group of people. Everybody is waiting for her. And it's kind of funny because it's a group of people, but every one body that's in this group is waiting for her. And that's why it's considered singular. Plural. Many are excited about school. Okay, so here's your verb. I'm just going to put in the middle of these two because these are your verb. Many is your indefinite pronoun. So it's referring to a group of people. Many are excited about school. We can tell that it's talking about more than one person, but we don't exactly know who they are. So that's why it makes it indefinite. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a little. You can pause if you need to finish these notes. I'm going to cover up the title because you should have that already written by now. Pause here if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the back page, cut out and glue that foldable all the way around the back side, and then fill it in. Okay, so we have on our next page indefinite pronouns. This guy right here that we're going to cut out and glue in just to make it fit a little bit better on the page. So I'm going to cut out the people. And this is going to give you a lot of good examples of ones that you may find in a sentence. So this is the only thing we're going to write on this page. So if you want to put it this way, you can. If you even want to glue it in upside or up and down this way, you're more than welcome to. And I am actually going to put it in vertically here, just for something different. Okay, so let's fill out some singular and plural indefinite pronouns you may find in a sentence. So these are just examples, okay? So you might have the word anybody, anyone, anything. You may have the word each, everybody, everyone. Oops, that's one word, sorry. Everything. Nobody. No one. Nothing. Somebody. Someone. And something. I know I went through that pretty quickly here, so I'll let you pause if you need to finish writing these guys down. So now you're probably thinking, and I know I would be too, anybody, anyone, anything, everybody, everyone, everything, why are those considered singular? And I kind of touched on that earlier in the video. If you look at it, body, one thing, body, one thing. These words or part of the word at the end of the word body, one, and thing are all referring to one person. Okay, so this is all one person, one person, or one thing, and one thing. That's why they're considered singular. Even though we include every or any, you're probably talking about a group of people or to a group of people, but you're actually, if you say, can everybody stand up, please? You're asking every one person in the room to stand up. Even though you're talking to multiple people, it's referring to one person. Everything I have on the table. Well, every one thing I have on the table is what that's referring to. So just be careful with that. Here are some plural ones. We have all, both, few, many, others, several, and some. So these are all a little bit more cut and dry of why they are plural. They make sense. So they're more than one person, more than one thing being talked about here. But it's an indefinite pronoun. So we don't know exactly who these more than one or what these more than one people or things are. Okay? All right, so you have an assignment on in your packet, or no, not in your packet, on Google Classroom, Google form that you'll fill out. You'll be finding the indefinite pronouns in each sentence. Okay, so pause this if you need to. Let me know if you have any questions.